I am the ultimate life form. Don't ask me what my name is, why I got here, or what I'm doing in life, because I really don't know. Amnesia is not an overused trope in video games. You all still love it, right? But there's one thing I know for sure. Discovering today's game may be the death of me, and not because of playing it.
Alright, I'll just open with a statement that's probably going to get me killed. I genuinely enjoyed Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, if all of you Sonic the Hedgehog fanboys can kindly put down your pitchforks and your thumb screws, I will do my best to explain. For those of you not as familiar with gaming, Shadow the Hedgehog appears to be the 37th game released in the Sonic the Hedgehog series in 2005 for GameCube, PS2, and the original Xbox. Those of you even slightly familiar with gaming may be more familiar with the Sonic series for consistently releasing absolutely horrible games. And by most people's consideration, this game is yet another example of their prestigiously horrible lineup. In all fairness, Shadow the Hedgehog is the first Sonic game I ever played. To this day, I've only played 2 games in the franchise, and neither of them is an official Sonic-style title. So I'm sure it can be argued that I don't understand the sanctity of the franchise that is being despoiled by this game. The sanctity that stands along with titles like Sonic Eraser, Tails Sky Patrol, and Sonic the Fighters, all titles released well before this game. For all of you who aren't familiar with this game yet, let's take a moment away from the negativity to look at this game's premise and setup. Our protagonist is the titular Shadow the Hedgehog, who is an artificially created life form by the series' main villain, Dr. Robotnik Eggman, or his grandfather, I'm not clear which. He was designed to be the opposite of Sonic. So where Sonic is obnoxiously cheerful, Shadow is obnoxiously edgy. Where Sonic spins and moves fast, Shadow spins and moves fast through special powers. The basic storyline of this game is that Shadow has awakened after some event in the previous game that I have not discovered. Hang on, let me Google this. He fell from the moon? I'm not even mad, I'm just impressed. I mean, he fell all the way, hit terminal velocity, and then some, burst into flames on it, re-entry to the atmosphere, and suffered some minor head trauma and amnesia. Jeez, if anything can prove him to be the ultimate life form like he's always banging on about, that'd be it. Well, the Earth is being invaded by aliens, and they're not friendly. Like always. Just once I'd like to see a game or a movie or a book where aliens invade and then realize that, oh, our bad, you are another sentient species. And we, I don't know, instead have like an intergalactic Olympic Games. That'd be awesome. Or, they teach us to grow slaves, android slaves from turnips, so that we have free work labor for everybody that we don't have to worry about because it's a vegetable. Just something that isn't, doomsday has arrived because the aliens have descended from space. I know we're America, and if we go to another place, we need to bring about doomsday to that place until it is also America. But that doesn't mean all aliens are self-centered fat idiots. Despite having no idea what's going on, Shadow is thrust into the middle of the drama. As you play through each level, various characters demand your assistance, as if you couldn't possibly have a goal of your own for being here. Which you do. Your goal is to collect the 7 Chaos Emeralds that exist in this world, which are not actually emeralds because they come in a variety of colors, and emeralds only exist in the color, shock of shock, emerald, i.e. green. These are actually various colored types of beryl, being Heliodor, Goshenite, Emerald, Morganite, another 2 varieties of aquamarine, and Bixbite. Any one of those names is also way more interesting just to say. I mean, picture it. The Chaos Morganite. But no, they went with the green one. Back on focus. Shadow believes that if he collects all 7 of the Chaos Beryl, then he'll get his memories back, understand his own existence, and finally know whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of— oh wait, too profound for this idiotic franchise, sorry. Yeah, we've been away from the anger and hatred too long. Let's take a look at one of the big issues that the fanboys have with this game, Shadow himself. He's too edgy, he swears, and he uses guns! He's so stupid and not at all like Sonic. Alright, as much as I might superficially disagree from my outside perspective on his dissimilarities to Sonic, That was the point. That's like hating Knuckles because he's obnoxiously dense and doesn't work by the same rules as Sonic does. And Shadow has guns because the Sonic fans asked for Sonic to use guns. They wrote letters to Sega Team. And as yet another side note, I love reading comments from fans making statements like, "Face the fact, the game is starting to turn the Sonic franchise into a total sellout." And then I look at this insane list of all other roughly 36 Sonic games that came before this point, and I laugh. At you. To give the haters some credit, Shadow's edginess is kind of obnoxious. You just want him to lighten up. But then you see what Sega considered upbeat characters, and suddenly his growly voice nonsense is absolutely pleasant to listen to. All of the Sonic characters that were brought in to give Shadow the hero path options are annoying at best and made me mute my TV at worst. But the ridiculousness of Shadow was the point in my opinion. My impression of the Sonic games has always been Sega was desperately trying to be cool. It was the whole concept behind their system when they were still a console manufacturer.
What Nintendo?
And with the first Sonic iterations, they actually succeeded for the most part. But around the year 2000, they seemed to know times were changing and they needed to rethink cool. At least they felt they needed to. So they locked on to that emo goth edgy trend that seemed to be going around during the time and tried to emulate it. Just like today, they put bandages all over poor Sonic and friends because that's cool. What I'm saying is, Sonic has always been cheesy and ridiculous. This is just a different type of cheese from the other games because Sega wanted to go in a direction that they couldn't take Sonic himself. I really feel like a lot of fans went into this expecting Sonic and they got Shadow. I went into this game expecting a whole lot of cheese and desperate attempts to be cool, and that's exactly what I got. It's almost adorable to me, in a way analogous to watching a little kid desperately try and fit in with the big kids, but he doesn't really know what they're talking about, so he just tries to act all serious and ends up being so cute. Sure, that kid can be annoying at times, but the big kids are too. Now, the much more understandable complaint is the controls. Shadow has the homing attack that is iconic to the Sonic franchise, and to use the attack, you jump in the air, then press jump again, and Shadow will lock onto a nearby enemy and shoot towards them, causing them damage upon impact. However, the game seems to think that pits are also enemies, and Shadow just loves to throw his little emo self to his death in a bottomless pit. The run controls also seem a little slippery, so if you're not ready for what's coming up next, you'll probably have some issues with not running into enemies, or more bottomless pits. Once you become more familiar with the levels and how they're designed, however, the controls will change to feeling more fluid than they do slippery. Another major annoyance playing through, though, was the camera. There are several levels where you need to jump down from platform to platform. If you miss a jump, you'll have to start all over because you fell into a bottomless pit. Well, alright, technically you just fell back to Earth, which clearly isn't a threat for Shadow, so that shouldn't be a game over, but like many 3D games from this time period and before, the camera loathes Shadow, it loathes reasonable angles, and it loathes the player most of all. While this issue isn't unique to this game, it's still definitely frustrating. So up until now, I've just complained as much as everyone else. Why did I say that I genuinely enjoy this game? Well, one reason is its replayability. Astute viewers will notice that I haven't broken down this story piece by piece like I prefer to. Well, that's because your story is dependent on you as the player. With each level, you can choose to aid Sonic and his allies and save the world. You can complete missions to help the black creatures, yes, that's actually what they call them, and destroy the Earth. Or you can tell both of the pushy, self-assured groups where to shove it and ignore their affronted demands to fulfill their task as you grab the Chaos Heliodor for your own quest for understanding. The stages will change as well depending on which side you chose to help in the previous stage. Thus, your choices can result in 10 different endings for the story. There's technically 326 endings, each based on every possible variation of stages passed through, but those endings really change very little. Once you've unlocked all 10 main endings, there's a canon ending, but since I've read that that ending only mattered for Sonic 06, and that game's been removed from canon thanks sweet little baby Jesus, I guess everything's up for grabs now. This variety of endings was criticized as padding, something that I've personally railed against several times now, but I just can't see it that way. To me, Padding is pointless content that doesn't serve the point of the game, such as meaningless arenas and running back and forth in Borderlands, or literally everything in Assassin's Creed that isn't stabbing someone. The multiple endings gives the player choice. It makes those choices feel impactful on the world around them. You choose where to go. You choose who to side with. And those choices actually make a difference in the world of the game. If you chose to help the black creatures and lift all of their vehicles up into the sky by activating green crystals, you'll end up later in a mission with them flying. Did you choose to instead help the heroes and try to destroy that? Then you'll never actually go there instead. Lots of games promise that your choices will matter. This is the reality of choices mattering, but apparently gamers didn't really want what they were asking for. Kind of like the Sonic fans asking for Sonic to use guns and then bitching when they got what they mailed Sega asking for. I can pick up this game whenever I want and play through a storyline, making whatever choices I see fit. You can play through each run of this game in a bit over an hour and a half, so no play session ever feels drawn out beyond its welcome, and replaying it never feels like an onus. So if you're looking for a perfect game, this is definitely not the place to look. And if you're looking for a Sonic game, this is really not the place to look. But if you're just looking for something that's kind of cheesy, that you can play through in a bite-sized session, and that you'll really feel like your choices have some impact on the game, this is an alright choice that you can pick up for about $10 on eBay. So, with that said, I would suggest that you go and try the game and discover for yourself whether you think it's an actually decent experience like me, or whether you just agree with everyone else. Either way, it's a choice that should be found for yourself. Fun with angst, indeed. Hopefully you all enjoyed that, and even if you disagree with me, I would ask that any criticisms or comments that you have, please be constructive and not just hating on me because I like something you don't. Like I said in the video, everything is about discovering your own opinion. So hopefully we can all do that, and if you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and a share because that'll help this channel to grow. And I'll see you all next week. Until then, remember, life is always another game waiting to be discovered.
How long does this need to go for?
Dude, you are missing the coolest thing I have ever seen!
I can't see!